Need a Christmas tree? Well, I have one for spare, so just hit me up in the comments below if you would like me to ship this. I'm not gonna ship this. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Christopher as always, and today I'm outside, finally doing some outside work. Well, I did move the greenhouse and I've been doing some work in the garden generally, but then we got some snow. So this video was supposed to be 2 weeks ago, I think. I had everything planned and it all looked good, and suddenly the forecast changed and they forecasted snow, and oh boy did it snow. So we had 3 days of snow and it was pretty much white everywhere. I was able to keep something alive in the greenhouse, but anyway, I just had to postpone the whole plan. So if you think I was dead, I wasn't. I was just hibernating. So now it's time to actually get the fruit trees in the ground. We have 2 fruit trees here, and we have an apple tree that's going way over there on the other part of the property. So these 2, I'm not sure if I'm able to grow them, because I don't know anybody that has grown these in this kind of conditions that we live in. So, but I think I have a good spot for it here. It's very good protected against winds and everything, and we have the sun coming all the way over here in the summertime. So it has sun from 9 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. So that's 14 hours of sun. And is that 14 hours of sun? I think it is. Anyway, it's a phenomenal spot for these, but I'm not sure if they're gonna grow anyway. So we will just have to try and see. And in the wintertime, oh boy, do we have to prepare for wintertime. We need to cover these up. And oh, you wonder what I'm growing. Well, first, this is a plum tree. Norwegian. I have no idea if that's some Norwegian cross or what it is. I don't know. In Norway they have a different scale for the growing areas, or the growing the zones for growing. Now in Norway, it's when it gets higher in the number, so it goes from age 1 to age 0 to age 9, and the higher you get, the colder, the more cold tolerant it is. So if you get like a zone 7, 8 or 9, it means it will grow in the mountains. But where we live, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's zone age 6. And the plum tree is supposed to grow in age 4 to 5. So we have to figure out a way to at least trim it down a couple of zones. And the other tree, this one I am really excited about, because I have no idea if people have grown these here. It's actually a sweet cherry called Sunburst. Now we have the neighbor just down there have a ton of cherries, but they're all sour cherries, and they will grow everywhere. They grow like weeds up here. But these ones are the sweet ones, and those are the ones we really like to enjoy in the summertime. These are age 4 zone, so I have no idea what the equivalent to the American standard is for it, but you're Americans, you probably know. But anyway, these will hopefully survive here. It's really important to get them into the ground early in the springtime here, and hopefully get some good roots growing on these. I'm not sure if they will survive, but I'm gonna do my best to take care of these, and we're gonna give them all the TLC that we could ever find. So, but anyway, that's what I'm gonna do first, and that's kind of a boring thing. Now what I'm gonna do is just dig some really deep holes. I just emptied out our compost for all the food scraps that we have. So this is compost that is aged. The oldest parts are a year old, so it's from last spring when I emptied it out. So we have this big thing that we keep the compost in. It's all the kitchen scraps. So that's just pure black gold. And I'm gonna fill fill each of the holes with the compost first. And I'm going to put in the plants, and I'm going to refill with some potting soil that I have. Just some general potting soil. Nothing fancy. So it's just, I figured that we're going to need some really loose soil so the roots will be able to develop perfectly this summer. And I think that's all we're gonna do. So I'm just gonna do that, and once I'm finished with these, I'm gonna bring you down to the area where I'm putting in some grow beds, because I'm finished with growing in ground. It's just so much weeds, and when you live where I live, there's farmers growing everywhere around, so you will not be able to get rid of everything. Well, I could, but then again, I would have to use the whole summer just picking weeds. And that's not the fun part of gardening, I think. Well, that's like painting or watching paint dry. Well, I would prefer watching paint dry, I think. But anyway, we're gonna do that later. And some update. Let's just do that first. You're probably wondering what's happening with the big greenhouse. Now, I was a little bit rough in the last episode. I told you I'm gonna rip down the whole garage, and that actually got out to one of my neighbors. He's the farmer living down there. He's actually the one driving a tractor right now. And he called me one night. Then I was cleaning out the garage, and I have my whole family here, and they were all helping out, and I was prepared to just take apart the whole thing. And he said, well, it's just a shame, I cannot let you take down the garage. And I said, okay, do you have a better solution? And he said, yes. So he kindly offered me to rent a small part of his field just below the garage, right behind you. and he said, well, if this is something that you're really into and you're gonna use the space for it, then I'll be more than happy to provide that space for you. And that's just, that's not something that you get when you're living in a city. Not my experience. This is some hardcore people that are actually being nice to other people, and I can't thank him enough for that. So, but that just means that it's gonna be a huge project. I'm gonna need to build a wall for it, and it's not gonna be a concrete wall. We're gonna build a wall of stones, so it's gonna look really tasty. But that means that it's gonna be a summer project. So, but don't you worry, I will bring you along the whole way, from start to finish, because I think it's actually gonna be a fun project to see that thing get up. But that means that I have close to 60 chilies that I've been growing up, and they are yay high, and I have no place for them. So, but then again, I'm lucky. I can choose which one to grow this summer. So I think we're gonna have some paprika or some sweet peppers at least, and maybe something in the danger zone, but we will just see. And it definitely gives me an opportunity to see what I can try to grow outside here. And I have some rocotos, as I've been talking about already. And I'm gonna definitely try to grow these in ground outside, so they're going into the grow box. They are in the ground. It was quite a bit of work, and it made me warm, at least I would say warm. So, just to recap what I did. I dug this far into the ground. It was a lot of rocks, so because this is all fill mass, and I had to dig quite deep, and it was really hard. But I managed to get them up, and what I did, I dug the hole, I put in a generous amount of compost, the rich compost that I made, and then I put in some soil mix that I have, and I mixed it all together. Then I put in close to 10 liters of water. And I didn't film that, so I just needed to tell you that, because I think that I've heard that the number one mistake that people make when they put down fruit trees at home is that they don't give them enough water in the beginning. You have to remember, these are already established trees, and they're in this deep pots, and all the roots are confined to that space, and they don't reach as far as they should for the size. So it's important to give it well drained, but some really good soil mix that keeps and retains the water in the beginning. So that's what I did, and I put in the trees. I just backfilled with more soil, and that's that. And let's now just cross our fingers. I'm gonna water these eventually. Well, eventually, right after I finish filming, I'm gonna water them again. And I'm not gonna fertilize for a little while now, because I put in quite a decent amount of compost, and they're gonna love that. So now I'm gonna switch you over, and let's just it's starting to get late at night now, and I just want to show you what's going on there and what's going to happen this summer, and I'm gonna tell you about the next episode, which is about one of the raised beds. So I'm just gonna turn you around, and I'll see you right there. We're going all in on the raised beds this year. Last year, this was the spot where I had the greenhouse, and this was where I had my plastic thingy, where I had the peppers, some peppers, and I had some tomatoes with, yeah, enough about that. This year, the greenhouse is back up there, and you might remember this bad boy. This was actually on top of this one, and it was the grow bed that I had indoors. Yes, this winter I had this entrapment indoors. So I took the whole thing apart, and I took it outside, and I actually moved all the soil. So the soil that is in this one is actually the soil that I had indoors. So this is just the most luxurious piece of dirt I could ever find. So I have high hopes for this. This one is a mix of the soil that I had in the grow box, which is, oh, now if I can remember, I have cocoa peat, the coir, I had some compost, and I had a ton of vermiculite. I would say almost close to a third of the mix was vermiculite. Well, maybe not, because I did actually mix some new soil that I put in and blended it, so that had a little bit less of the vermiculite. But this one is well draining, perfect soil. So now to the plants. So what I'm thinking this year, because I'm tired of growing in ground, and that's mainly because of the weeds. I just hate with a passion taking out all the weeds. So it's grow beds, and I'm thinking now the first thing I'm going to do is put in some good fertilizer. I'm going to use the rest of my compost, which is up there, and I have a ton of other things. I'm going to try to experiment this year. Of course, I have chicken manure. This is just plain composted chicken manure. It's organic, and I'm only going to use organic materials here. So, and that's a winner for me all the time. And I know that a lot of people actually use it. I'm gonna try to use some bat guano. This is actually poop, yes, from bats, of all things. Now, I don't know who ever came up with that idea to just go into a cave and just take, well, that's gonna be good for your tomatoes. So we're gonna use that, and I have a lot of bone meal. Now, that doesn't smell all that good, but it's good for the soil. I have some Epsom salt. I have neem cake. Anybody used neem cake before? Now, I use neem oil to get rid of pests, so... But it's actually a fertilizer, and somebody recommended I try it, so I'm gonna see if I can use that. Now this one I'm really scared to be using because this is urea, 99% pure urea, and that's a nitrogen bomb. It says 46 plus percentage of nitrogen, so this is a this is a heavy nitrogen source. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna try to use that or if I dare to use it. But my plan is to mix the whole thing in. I'm not gonna show you because that's something that everybody can do. I'm just gonna throw it in there, I'm gonna mix it up. And I'm gonna try a little bit of different things and we will see if things grow. And if they grow, I will tell you what I put in. So in this bed, the shallow bed, I'm gonna put in some strawberries, the strawberries that I brought down here. These are Sengana, no idea. They're supposed to be good. And this one is Corona, and that's actually one that I've heard of before. So I'm gonna put in those, and I might also take a little bit, because I have some cuttings. I took some cuttings from, we used to have strawberries right behind you, and I don't want them there anymore. So I'm gonna take some cuttings from those strawberries, and I don't remember what the name is, but yeah, I might figure it out someday. I'm gonna grow a few of those also, and the rest of the bed is just gonna be onions. I'm gonna try, I started a few onions indoors, but it was too late. But it might still be viable, but at least I started some indoors. And we have some shallots, we have some yellow onions, we had some red onions, we have garlic, and we have some large snowball or yellow onions. So we're gonna try just a few of each, just for fun, and we will see what we kind of like, and we will use that for next year. In this big bed, I'm gonna put in potatoes. I actually got a bunch of seed tomatoes, and they they are starting to put out some really nice growth, if I can get one out. And there's a ton of these. Now I'm not gonna put everything in, but I'm gonna put in a few, and I'm gonna grow tomatoes in the big bed in the back here. And this bed, this is gonna be for carrots. I don't know. I'm not sure, but at least carrots. We will just see once I get the seeds in. Now, you're wondering, why the heck don't you put in seeds already? Well, we have a slow start in this season, so these are gonna, I'm gonna plant the seeds maybe tomorrow or the next day, or because the forecast for the next 10 days looks promising. At least we're not gonna have night frost, and that's the only thing that matters, because we've had night frosts close to every day until now. So yeah, that one, not sure. Bok choy, maybe. Grow some salads. I'm gonna put in 2 or 3 more of these small half pallet beds. I'm gonna put one there, and I'm gonna put a couple right in front of the big bed. Now the big bed, that's more exciting. The next episode, I'm really excited because I think I've found a good way to do a hoop house. Now there's a ton of videos online on hoop house, but I'm actually gonna try something fun. And I'm gonna try something that I didn't find a video for, so just stay tuned. Subscribe to my channel. And I'm gonna try to do that, and that's gonna be next episode, because I'm waiting for some parts that I ordered online. And what I'm gonna do is put some posts down here, and I'm gonna put some UV plastic over it, and I'm gonna make a hoop house, because as I mentioned, I have close to 60 chilies up there, and and in my indoor grow room, I started so many things. I started a ton of tomatoes and a ton of peppers also, and I have some what did I grow? I'm not sure anymore because there is so many things. Eggplants. I have eggplants, and I had some what's the name? I don't know. Tomatillos I have, and the thing that looks like a tomatillo, but it's not a tomatillo, and it tastes just phenomenal. It looks like a small yellow tomato. Something cherry. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But anyway, I'm gonna try to sprinkle a little bit of everything in this grow bed, and I'm gonna see if I can grow it without any external heat or without having a big space, because I'm gonna use the... Hold on. Yes, I have props. These ones. These are PVC pipes. They're 16 millimeter. Yeah, 16. And I'm gonna use these. Not exactly this way, because I have some patent pending on this one. But at least you will see the height right now. And it's gonna be close to 1 meter high. And these are 2 meters. So I think 80 centimeters or something. And that's gonna be sufficient to grow a few things. At least a few peppers that don't get too high. I'm not gonna grow some crazy ahis that get this tall. Well, I had the Aloro de Ecuador that I grew and gave out a ton of seeds for last autumn. I think that it was higher than me at the end. So that's no, that's not for this space. But anyway, that's gonna be the next episode. So I hope you stay tuned, and I'm really excited about this. And also, maybe a few of the peppers that I don't get to fit inside, I might sell them online, I'm not sure. Or I might sprinkle them across the, the yard in various pots or pans. Not pans. But anyway, that's all for this week. And the next episode will be, I think, if I'm lucky, with the wife, the kids, the dog, the work, the neighbors, the weather, the traffic, everything. If it all fits, I'm gonna be posting the video on this thing next. Yes. Anyway, this is Christopher saying may the force be with you, and I have to do some work.